Let us go to the South region. I'm going to spoiler alert this one, James. I don't have Houston.
I don't either.
Winning it all. No. I don't have Houston coming out of this bracket. I don't have Houston surviving the first weekend.
Oh. Okay. I'm assuming you're not going
because the Longwood Lancers beat them. but so that 8-9 game I mentioned at the top of the show, fascinating situation where Trev Alberts, the AD, leaves Nebraska, goes to Texas A&M, and they wind up playing each other first round of the NCAA tournament. But that feels if A&M survives that game, Boots Radford and company, like I can see them beating Houston in the second round. I can see that. Now, I can also see Houston beating them by 15. But I just think the level of athletes that Texas A&M has, Houston's going to try to lock them down. And you've seen what happens when Houston gets bogged down, can't hit shots. That's how Iowa State destroyed them on Saturday.
Yeah, you're going Texas A&M past Nebraska and then taking down Houston, which is
and then your Buzz Williams, John Shire, A&M Duke game in the Sweet 16. Yeah,
because I'm going Nebraska over Texas A&M, and then Nebraska with a real live dog chance to knock off Houston in that next round. So we think that both of those 8-9 teams are very capable of beating Houston if they make it to that second round. I really like the way this Nebraska team has been playing. I think that the Texas A&M group, obviously under Buzz Williams, they're really good. I think that this Nebraska team is the hotter team right now. I think with Tominaga, what he's been able to do, Rink Mast, I think that they have been just a better team as of late. They're clicking on more cylinders. They've got the momentum coming into this one. So I'm going with Nebraska in that first game, but I do think that they have a real chance to knock off Houston. I would also put Texas A&M in that category where Houston's got to be on top of their game if they want to advance past Texas A&M. I do agree with you there, though.
Well, and then you get to the 5-12, which is another very popular upset pick, is James Madison out of the Sun Belt, 31-3. And we saw him beat Michigan State early in the season. We're like, there's an upset. No, I don't think that was an upset. that may have been them being the better team. They get Wisconsin, which made a run to the Big Ten tournament final. How much of that is why Wisconsin is sitting here and out of the 6? And is Wisconsin as good as what we think, or do they just have a good week?
Yeah, I think Wisconsin was in that 5 or 6 conversation, so I don't think it's any big stretch that they ended up on the 5 line after making a run through the Big Ten tournament. I also think that this Wisconsin team has maybe turned a corner. I'm a little bit hesitant. I want to pump the brakes just a little bit, but there's a reason that I didn't pick this upset. I like this James Madison team. I like what Byington has there. Bickerstaff has been incredible, but I'm just pumping the brakes and I'm taking a second look at it because Wisconsin has been playing really good basketball and they have beaten some of the best teams in the Big Ten over the course of the past week. And I look back over the data and it's like they kind of turned a corner. They had that losing streak. They were really struggling, but they feel like they have gotten just a little bit better. They've kind of cleaned up some of the mistakes. And with AJ Storr, I think that they've got a star guy there who can kind of take them over the top when they face this James Madison team. But it's another one of those that you're going to have to circle. You're going to want to watch. You're going to want to think hard before you make a pick in this one.
Well, and I think we all feel pretty good about Duke and Vermont. That's one of those. If the Catamounts win, the nation will. If the Catamounts are close, the nation's going to be behind them. Our pal Tom Brennan, my boy, is going to be just elated if that can happen. But I don't have a lot of faith there. I think Duke moves on, and I think Duke can beat whoever comes out of Wisconsin and James Madison. So I think Duke can get into the Sweet 16 here. Texas Tech, NC State's interesting to me. So this is the big, do you rest your legs? Is that better? Now, NC State needed to win the ACC tourney to get in here. Yeah. This is where the ACC tourney final being on a Saturday versus a Sunday, I feel like helps quite a bit. But DJ Burns, I think, could be one of the stars of this tournament if NC State can win a game or two. If you watch the ACC tournament, you got to see him. If you watch ACC basketball all year, you've seen DJ Burns, and it's like, wow, why is an offensive tackle on the court? And 6'9", 275, silky smooth passer. You saw it in the ACC tournament final against North Carolina, where he was just throwing dimes. Basically, you double him, he's going to find somebody. Loved watching him play. I think they can beat Texas Tech. They can pull the upset here. Now, I also think they could be very dangerous for Kentucky and really turn the heat up on Cal if NC State were to get out of the first round and get into a game against Kentucky in the second round.
Yeah, DJ Burns is kind of a matchup nightmare for this Kentucky team, which has kind of tried to rotate through their bigs and figure out who they're going to play. I don't think they have anyone who can match up with DJ Burns down there in the low block. We have heard John Calipari, though, kind of hint, maybe suggest that there's a defensive shift around the corner. Will he play 2 7-footers together? How will that look? Will that kind of negate what DJ Burns is able to do when you can kind of just box him in with 2 guys who have more height and length than he has? It'll be interesting to see if we get that matchup, what it would look like for the Kentucky defense, because you're going to have to find some unique way to do it. Maybe it's the guards helping off, kind of getting their hands in passing lanes, swiping at the ball, but you're going to have to do something unique if you're going to slow down DJ Burns, especially if you're Kentucky here. But I think that this Kentucky team, if they can survive that, or if they can beat Texas Tech, if Texas Tech is the one to advance, I think they got just about as good of a draw as they could possibly get here in this bracket. It looks really good to me. Marquette is still dealing with Tyler Kolek's injury down at the bottom of this bracket, which we'll talk about. Florida just lost Micah Hanlogton. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about a weakened side of the bracket below them, and then they're only going to have to play one of, if they make it that far, Houston, Wisconsin, or Duke to advance to the Final Four. So I think that this run is just about the best thing John Calipari could have hoped for.
Well, the other thing about Kentucky is they are maybe the most talented team in this region. Yeah. You know, they're the 3 seed, but they are definitely probably more talented than Houston, more talented than Marquette, more talented than Duke. But can they put it all together? They've been remarkably inconsistent. But you look at like the end of the regular season, they go and they hammer Tennessee at Tennessee. Yeah. Like when they put it together, they are unstoppable. And that's the thing is can they do that? But they could also they could lose to Texas Tech or NC State in the second round. Greg Campy, by the way, the coach at Oakland. Kentucky plays Oakland in the first round. This is a guy that has been there forever. He's been the head coach at Oakland forever. And he's been at his current school for 40 seasons. The longest tenured coach in the NCAA right now. And I mean, what would it be if they could knock off the Wildcats? Holy crap. That would be something, but I don't have a lot of faith there. Again, Kentucky should be able to out-talent Oakland. You mentioned, so Florida playing the winner of Boise State, Colorado. You mentioned Micah Hanlogton out. That is a big blow for Florida because Florida being able to rotate those bigs has made it where they could play fairly physical defensively. Now they are not as physical down low probably because they're trying to make sure that they're not in foul trouble. Yeah,
I still think that they've got a good chance here because they were so deep at that center position. They can still play Tyree Samuel there. Alex Condon has been a pleasant surprise with what he's been able to provide. Thomas Houck has been really good in the minutes that he's gotten. He's kind of grown throughout the season. So I think they'll be able to cover those minutes, but it's still a huge loss because of what he brought you that some of those guys just don't quite have from a defensive rim protection standpoint. I think that Florida still has a good chance to get out of that first round. But with this Florida team, I've said it over and over in recent weeks, there are nights where you think, wow, I mean, this team could rival the Joakim Noah and Al Horford teams. And there's other nights where you go, is this team serious right now? Like, are they going to make the NCAA tournament? you don't know which
Yeah.
Florida you're going to get. Sometimes it's half to half. You get one half of basketball that's just like Globetrotter stuff. They're just running up the score. You're like, wow, they're doing this to Alabama or to Kentucky or Tennessee, whoever they're facing. And then the second half, you're like, whoa, okay, like, is this the same group out there that we're watching? I don't know what happened in the locker room, but it depends on what Florida we get. They could either be a team that makes a shocking run to the Elite Eight, or they could be a team that crashes out in the first or second round here. It's really going to come down to how they lock in and how they play, which has been a mystery throughout the season at times.
And then meanwhile, you've got Marquette, 2 seed, Shaka Smart back in the NCAA tournament. Tyler Kolek, their point guard, has been dealing with injuries. What do you see from them?
Yeah, I think his health is really what it comes down to for Marquette. They can be a team that makes a run through that first weekend. They get to a potential matchup against a Kentucky, whoever it is, and they could definitely win that game as long as Tyler Kolek is at his peak. Oso Ighodaro has been great. Cam Jones has been an elite scorer off the wing in college basketball. So they've got the complementary pieces around that group to get it done. But they need Tyler Kolek. They need that point guard who initiates the offense, who kind of provides their identity to get things going if they want to make a deep run in this tournament. The longer they go, though, the healthier he will get. So it's really going to be about surviving these first couple of rounds.
Yeah, he had an oblique injury, so it's one of those that it takes time, but it's not a season ender type thing. So yeah, if they could somehow survive Western Kentucky, either without him or him playing kind of limited minutes, and then maybe get through Florida, because then it gets real tough after that. But
yeah,
the Florida thing is the key. And Florida, really, if their guards are hitting shots, you're in trouble. You're going to have a problem. You're going to have a fight on your hands. So that's the big question. That Florida Marquette could be a really good game in round 2, depending on if Pullen and those guys show up. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.